Hello and welcome to gaming and welcome to another eSports Boxing Club update video. So immediately following my video yesterday that I posted discussing what is going on with the community and their worries about the eSports Boxing Club and when it is going to release and if it is ever going to release, we got our second roundtable discussion from Steel City Interactive. I couldn't believe that this dropped immediately following my video that I put out. I had said in my video yesterday, which you can go back and watch if you click this link over here, I had said that we are getting much more content from Steel City Interactive, and that's something that they spoke about in this roundtable discussion. So in the roundtable discussion, we had Ash, of course, we had Will, and we had Todd, but a special guest was there, our very own Boxing Fanatico, our YouTube star was there to represent us content creators and the community at large. So I'm going to detail and break down all the things that were discussed during the roundtable, but I highly recommend that you go watch it yourself. But let's get into it. So the first thing that was really mentioned was from Boxing Fanatico was the fact that the playtest session, they'd had another playtest session since the content creator event, and actually this was part of the creation of the video that we saw recently, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. But he did note that there has been a further playtest session and there has been improvements from when the content creator event happened and the recent playtest sessions. Ash noted some of the criticisms towards the visuals in the latest video, the Terence Crawford video, and he actually pointed out the fact that some things were sacrificed, some of the visual elements were sacrificed for this video because they wholly wanted to focus on the gameplay. So the arena wasn't looking as tip-top as it has been in some of the other videos that we've seen, but he said this was specifically done and it's not something to be totally worried about. So as I said earlier, that Terence Crawford video was put together with Boxing Fanatico. He was part of the creative process for the Crawford video. The studio said that they wanted a content creator to help make something a bit different, to go with something that looked a little bit different to what they'd already done. And I think you can tell that. Again, I covered that video. There's a link in the top corner right now for you to go back and watch my thoughts on that. But I did say that it gave us a lot more insight into the gameplay than some of the previous videos have done. Like I said earlier, Fanatico said that he noticed a big improvement in the gameplay between the content creator event, which was in March, I believe, to this session that they did for the video. He said that he felt like there was like a 50% improvement from March to June, so that's really promising to hear that he could feel a big difference between what he played before and what he played now. So apparently it was Boxing Fanatico and Will who made the video. They were against each other to create that video, the Terence Crawford video that is. And they talked at length about how the gameplay evolved across sessions. They were finding new ways to fight and counter and different ways to link up combos to unlock their opponent. And I think that's really encouraging to hear because that suggests that we're really going to be able to stylize our own fights. And if we're coming up against an opponent that we're finding tricky, there's going to be different ways to kind of try and utilize different methods to defeat that opponent. So I really like the sound of that. It makes it feel like this is something that we're going to be able to really sort of customize to our own experience when playing the game. So Ash talked about the judges, and apparently they're going to have their own personalities that will affect the scoring, and you should sort of proceed during a fight differently depending on which judges are there. So some might like certain things more than others, I guess. He did make a little bit of a jab at the real life judges. I know there's been a lot of controversy in recent years about some of the decisions in some of the major fights in boxing. So there was a little jab from Ash there about that, but he said that yeah, the judges are going to have their own personalities. They did talk about the flash knockouts. Now, of course, this is something that's going to be in the game, one-punch knockouts. And I think there was a worry from the community and from the developers themselves that this could be something that got abused when the game launched, especially for the esports, because they want, obviously it's called eSports Boxing Club. They want this to be a legitimate game that features in esports. What was promising though was the fact that they said they only had one flash knockout during the recent play sessions, and they're quite happy with how they're sitting in the game right now. So it does seem like this is something that won't be abused. Now, you never know once the game launches we'll see how it is utilized, certainly in the online aspect. But yeah, they said they were pretty happy with the way it looks right now. They asked Boxing Fanatico what he would like to see improve, which I thought was a really brave question from, I think it was Todd that asked it, and maybe he didn't have permission to ask that, I don't know. But it was a pretty brave question, and Fanatico, to be fair to him, you know, he said, oh, there's not a great deal, but he did point out a few things. So one of the things that he mentioned was he wants to see an improvement to the punches, just tightening up a little bit. He said that they've come on such a long way between the play sessions and they're feeling a lot more legit, but he did say they need just a slight bit more improving. He also said that he wants an improvement in the leaning and punching combos because he said at the minute it seems a little bit loose. So a couple of things regarding the punching there to be improved from Boxing Fanatico. He did also mention that standard glitches that you get in any game, they need sorting, which of course is to be expected with any game release. There was confirmation that Todd Grisham will be commentating in the game. I did ask in one of my previous videos whether or not Todd Grisham was a commentator for the Boxing in Real Life, and that might make me sound stupid, but I'm not a boxing fan. I just like boxing video games, as I've been very honest with you all throughout covering this game. And there was confirmation in this video that he will be commentating in the game. He asked if there was any commentary when the guys were doing their play session, but they said there wasn't. So one thing I think that's currently bugging Steel City Interactive is the refs. Apparently they're causing quite a lot of issues in the game at the moment. It's an aspect that really needs a lot of work. According to Ash, he did say you may notice that when there are refs in any of the promotional stuff, they tend to be pretty much stood still or in the corner out of the way of the action. And apparently, yeah, they're causing issues with how the game runs, so that's something that they need to work on before launching the game. There is going to be an immersive mode that takes away the game HUD and the clock and everything. So it's basically like a hardcore mode for the game. And I think that's going to be something that the community will love, especially there might be certain sort of events that people set up where it's like hardcore mode only. I think this is something that's going to be really, really enjoyed by many people in the community. And that was pretty much it for the roundtable discussion from Steel City Interactive. One thing that was funny though, right at the end, Todd Grisham said, you better tell them the release date soon. I thought that was really funny of him to say, because he's probably poking fun a little bit at some people's comments that are coming in, but it was quite a light-hearted way to end the video. There was kind of like a little post-credits thing where it was more of like a relaxed conversation between everyone, more about sort of playing the game. I think Todd Grisham was saying how he finds it quite hard, but all the others were saying it's too easy right now. And Ash was saying about how they want to make it hard and they want to make the top difficulty almost unbeatable. So that was quite light-hearted. They were all poking fun at Todd at the end of the video. So that's my little recap of the roundtable for Esports Boxing Club. What did you guys think of the video? Did you think that some of the things said give you a lot of hope about the game? I think there's so many little details that were announced in this that really do make me even more keen to play this game. Let me know specifically what parts you thought were good. Was there anything that they mentioned that made you think that this game's maybe not going to be as good as we were thinking previously? Let me know as well in the comments about that. And I'll see you in the next video.